Lily, tell us, how do you even predict the cost of care and what goes into that as you're planning within your AI?
So we distill down cost in three ways, three kind of simple ways, in a not so simple kind of calculation, which is we take into account care setting, family involvement, and inflation rate are the key things that go into cost. And so when it comes to care setting, like knowing whether or not you're going to be living at home or you're going to be going to a community and at what time in your extended care trajectory is that going to happen plays a really large role in terms of like, what is that monthly cost going to look like, or, the hourly cost of care coming into the house and how long you're going to have that care for. So again, like that plays a role. Then family involvement. Oftentimes, if families step in, and we currently predict for physical caregiving hours, if family members were to step in, we currently assume that it's subsidized, that you're not actually paying family members any amount of money. And so they could be the difference of, care costing, $350,000 or $200,000. Like that's how massive the help could actually be, instead of having professionals come to the house instead. And then the third piece that is probably the trickiest cognitive piece to teach is the healthcare inflation rate. A lot of people assume that, long-term care or extended care in this case, if a 70% likelihood, let's assume it's 3.5 years, and let's look into a nursing home in your area. It's about $10K. So do you have about $350K to self-fund or not? And people are like, oh, well, I'll have $350K, I guess, in 20, 30 years when I'll actually need that care. And they're not taking into account how those are today's cost. Right. And actually those costs are going to grow at what we use is 5.4%, which is off of CMS's actuarial tables for, the projected growth of healthcare costs over the next 10 years. Okay. So in other words, that cost will double every 12 years. And that's a hard thing to cognitively wrap your head around. And so it can easily freak someone out about, costs are going to grow by that fast. And I'm only hoping that like my money performs in the like money market at, 6%. But also this is where insurance comes in, or creating a self-funding plan today comes in, because if you were to wait until you need care, of course, that future dollars doubling every 12 years, yes, that's going to happen. But if you strategically think about how you want your money to grow or how you want to invest your money today, that actually plays a pretty massive role in like heavily subsidizing what that cost looks like. So something that might be, it's crazy to think about, like maybe in 30 years, your cost might go from, $375K to $2 million. But if you plan today, you could probably cover that cost with around $200K. That goes to $2 million. You're like, wait, how does that work? And that's a whole point of talking to an advisor. That's the whole point of going through the software that does the math for you to help you realize it's an incredibly special thing to plan today. And it's heavily like advantageous to do that today.
Right. Care costs today are very different from what they will be in the future. And so we really want to come up with what is the best, most efficient way to be able to plan and pay for this care. And it sounds like that's what your software really pinpoints and identifies. This is what we need to consider. Okay, now what is the most efficient way to do this and to pay for this?